Welcome to another episode of Manny Talks Shooting, the show where I talk to individuals all across the industry. We talk competition, self-defense, concealed carry. If you guys enjoy this content, check out our YouTube channel, Manny Things. Without further ado, I would like to introduce our guest, Chris. How are you doing tonight, sir?
Good. How are you doing, Manny? Thanks for having me.
I am great. It's a wonderful day here in Michigan because it's not raining today.
Yeah, it's been 7 days or something straight. It's been crazy.
My lawn loves it, but I hate it. I did mow today. Before we did this, I was mowing, so that's
Yeah,
done.
the grass has never looked better, but I'm tired of being inside in the humidity, like longing to go out there and do more than like 5 minutes at a time being outside. So
That is the truth. I had buckhorns all over my yard. They are gone now. Those are really tall, wispy weeds.
Oh yeah, yeah. Ours looks like some lawn that could win a prize right now. It's thick, it's green, it's amazing.
That's my neighbor's yard, like right next door. He waters it and they feed it, and
Right.
he's retired, so he can
Adult
do
things.
it. Well, older, yeah. Guy with a lot of money. He's a PRS shooter though. So I guess if he croaks, I'm going over and stealing his primers.
There you go. He's got some rifle primers.
A lot. Like, I think he was scared because he broke under 100,000 primers.
You know, that's kind of the zero number for the guys that I know that are older too. They say the same thing. The guy that MDs at my local with me, he says 100,000. It says zero. I'm like, well, okay, can I get in on that? Like, that will, right?
Just think about it. If they cashed out of primers, think about the money they'd be getting right now.
I know. I've had this conversation of just laughing about like, what are we doing with these shooting sports when we could sell these primers and invest in Bitcoin or something? Come on.
Bitcoin, Dogecoin, whatever we want. Yeah.
Right.
Well, let's get cracking. Chris, I need to ask this because I know who you are, but the viewers really don't. So Chris, who are you and how did you get into shooting?
My name's Chris Arace. I'm just a guy like the rest of you that found out about shooting and then got addicted to it quickly. The way I got into competition shooting was through a series of different events. Big into working out, was doing CrossFit for a long time, coaching, working out at different CrossFit gyms. Got into some endurance events with some friends doing some GoRuck stuff back in like 2012 through 2014. And one of the buddies I made there was a firearms instructor in Ohio. And he started teaching us all about, concealed carry. We got into classes. I took classes with Northern Red, with Mike Pannone, some of the GoRuck cadre. And then Kyle was his name. He doesn't shoot anymore because he's actually in the Army now. So shout out to Kyle. He'll be listening to this, I'll tell him. But he was telling us about USPSA. And then I got onto this group. It was called the GoRuck Rod and Gun Club on Facebook when I was on Facebook. And it was all these dudes that did GoRuck events that also like to fish and hunt and shoot. A couple of guys on there were all into USPSA. And I thought, this is the thing. It's moving, it's athletic, it's competition, it's like racing with guns. So I picked it up right away, end of 2016. And from the advice of the guys on that group, I figured out which gun I wanted to get. They told me to shoot limited. They told me which gun to get. I got a CZ Tac Sport Orange and went for it. And, what is that, end of 2016? So what are we, five seasons in now? And it just keeps getting better.
And it probably doesn't seem like it's been 5 seasons now. It's probably just been like a blink of an eye.
It really, yes, it does feel like that. And the crazy thing is I still feel like I'm like the FNG, the fucking new guy. Like every time I show up to matches, I still think I'm the guy that's, just figuring this out. But now I'm like one of the better guys in the squads, or I don't know. It's weird. I self-actualizing. I know that I'm getting better, and I'm using that like you want to stay confident with the way you look at yourself, but I still want to humble myself and feel like I'm the new guy, right? And It has gone by in a blink of an eye. Absolutely, it's felt like one long progression, and I love it, man. Just like the rest of you guys that get into it, you get the bug, and then that's all you think about.
It is, and I'll raise my hand. I'm addicted.
Yeah.
I don't have the commitment like you do. I mean, if I back out of this, I'm only out not as much money as you are, but I'm okay with that. But I mean, yeah, I kind of agree with you. you still think you're the new guy, but you know, you've been around the block and you're trying to keep that ego in check with, you know, your performance. I mean, you're a bomb ass shooter, but I mean, you still try to keep that humbleness and push yourself. I mean, you're very approachable, by the way. I mean, we met via Instagram, not
Yeah.
knowing each other, and then
No.
we shot one match together, and it's been awesome ever since.
Yeah, I mean, I'm old school as far like I'm not that old, but I'm old enough to remember life before social media and life before the internet, before cell phones, kind of on that cusp. So the internet and social to me was always a means of like connecting and also exchanging information for the betterment of the community.
Hmm.
And I mean, that's how I came to be into shooting. That's how I came to love shooting. That's how I came to respect the Second Amendment because I was afraid of it for so long and I didn't know why. And I thought, this is stupid. It's a right of mine. I should know why I'm afraid of it. Let me go learn. And of course, here we are. And you know, I want to be approachable because I want everyone to understand that, you know, we're all in this together and it's a sport. Plus, it's a right that we have.
Hmm.
And you know, you should be proficient with it, just like anything else in life. You should learn how to feed yourself properly, you know, work ourselves out properly. And we all struggle with that stuff, and that's okay. That's why we need more people to be approachable about this. So
Hmm.
we can all join in.
You're right. And if we don't bring new blood into the sport, it eventually will die.
Yep.
And without new blood, we can't have what we need. And we don't want the sport to die. I mean, we run on a sport of volunteer participation here. If we're out of if we out of volunteers, you can't go shoot a match.
Exactly. And you know, I've been trying, and I'm sure we'll talk about it more, but I've been, you know, this is my first full season that I'll have my, you know, RO certification. And I take pride in doing that and then designing stages for one of my locals and help running that match. And I aspire to do even more than that because you're right. If we don't have people that run things and we don't have volunteers that are passionate about it, then we all don't get nice things. I can name any of my favorite matches, and those guys are also competitors that shoot those matches, so they understand the game. They either make holsters too, or they have a company that does training too, or they're nationally competitive. That's how it works, you know.
Hmm. Yeah, and we need those guys. We need the guy who makes holsters, especially.
Oh, yeah.
He's changed the holster market, but that's beside the point.
Right.
Chris, so Chris, what gun do you use?
Currently,
Hmm.
well, so I've got a couple right here, right?
Hmm.
I'm shooting Infinity Firearms, open gun, IMM open gun, and 38 Super Comp. This one right here, and we've got this one right here. So this one's the gold one's more of my practice gun, and this one's got less rounds through it. So I tend to use this one for matches only.
Hmm.
I love to run these big thumb rests on them because I got these huge hands. And 38 Super Comp has been amazing for me. I switched out from my previous guns from 9 Major, and I'm like, it's been the best decision, especially with the ammo crisis actually, because I would load new brass anyway for majors, and it was like 16 cents a pop for 9mm brass from Starline, and you're getting that for 38 Super Comp, but you can load it like 30-40 times. So
See, there you
it's
go.
been awesome, and I do love these guns. They're a game changer for me, absolutely.
Yeah. Now, what drew you to Open in the beginning?
So I started in limited, like I had
Hmm.
said, with tac sport, and open. So once I started shooting with tac sport, it's funny. I was talking to you before the show about one of the first majors I shot.
Hmm.
I was at Area 4 in where it's going to be this year. It's in Tulsa, Oklahoma, at the U.S. Shooting Academy.
Hmm.
2017, I went to Area 4, and I shot the staff day. And the squad I was in had Tim Herron,
Hmm.
I had Cody Axon, it had Joel Park, right? And these are dudes that like now everyone, they're household names, right?
Hmm.
Instructors, you know, super squad level guys, podcast hosts, just great people.
Hmm.
And I remember Cody, I'm first in line because my last name, and he was second. So I never got to watch him shoot, but I stepped up and using the CZ, and he said, "What are you shooting a CZ for? Anyone that shoots limited uses a 2011. What are you doing?" And I was like, "Well, it was inexpensive and it's my first season." And he was like, just get a 2011. So I remember not long after that, finding my way into 2011, and you know, the big joke out there, it's like, it could have been better if I stayed with the Glock or whatever. but 2011s were awesome. I love the way they felt. I love the grip. I love the safeties, everything about them, the trigger. So I went into limited for a few more years, shooting the 2011s, and then I just got to a plateau where I was being very aware and sucked into the iron sights, just sucked in, locked in on the iron sights, and I couldn't take my vision and open it up. So I decided, this was after nationals in 2019, that I wanted to try open as a way to prove the efficacy that dots can help you with irons. And I borrowed a friend's open gun for a match, and was hooked, right? So I immediately sold the limited guns, got 2 open guns, and I just found out that it took the ceiling off of the stages for me. It opened up the stages to my vision and to my athleticism, where I didn't have to be concerned about these iron Legos that were blocking my view. Nothing against the guys that rock irons. Some of these guys like Cody Stills, like, they amaze me with irons, right? But the not so secret is they're not looking at those irons. They're perceiving them just like I perceive the dot. They're target focused. So that was what drew me to open, was when it just feels more natural. And when I first picked up a gun, I was target focused with a Glock 19 when I was learning to shoot it in some defensive classes. And then I was reeled back in to do the equal height, equal light, all this other stuff. And it actually hindered me. My natural tendency was to always target focus. So going into open, it just felt more natural, and it's faster, and I can really push the limits of what human can do behind these tools. And it's been amazing. Plus the competition there is off the charts. Like, you mess up a little bit and you're down from like 1% can drop you 10 places at nationals.
Oh yeah, especially the last nationals. It was a tight race.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and open is, I love shooting dots. I don't shoot open, but I shoot carry optics, but I love shooting a dot. And I think I kind of would forget how to shoot irons, but have you tried going back to irons and, target focused with irons since moving to open?
In practice session with a local friend, Jeff, who runs Ryan Rocks. He's a good, one of the best around here locally. Just good dude. He shoots limited, and we used to shoot against each other a lot when I was shooting limited. And I did try his limited gun in practice like a month or so ago, target focus, and I was able to hit stuff just fine. But the tendency is like, it's so much easier to go real fast on these because there's no recoil. It's just a punch. And the dot settles with you. But with 40 cal, you really got to grip it, because that thing hops on you, and you forget that more than the irons. I wanted to shoot the mitten match that we had here too, the low cap. I would have done limited 10 or even production, but I was out of town. Probably next year though, because I still do want to make M in the limited by way of classifiers. When I stopped shooting limited, I just made A class. So
we have 4 or 5 majors in next year in Michigan, pretty locally to us, which is fantastic.
Yes, everyone come up.
Yep, I have about 50-minute drive over there. Well, Livingston's a little bit farther, but that's fine. So
yeah, it's great. That was much like my first season, 2017. It's the same way it's going to be next year, where we had Area 5, Ryan Rocks, and we had the Michigan sectional. 2 of them were in Brooklyn, 1 of them was at Livingston, and it was just incredible. So next year is going to be similar. It's going to be great to have A5 and Michigan section back at Brooklyn.
Yep, and the mitten match will be there.
That's right.
So everyone sign up, or whenever registration opens.
You got it.
I'm actually going to shoot. I'm not going to shoot staff day on Area 5, at least.
Yeah, join up. We'll get a good squad going.
Yeah, I've got a buddy down from Austin, Texas. He's on the cusp of making GM and CO, so I'm convincing him to come stay at my house.
You got it, man. Spread the word.
Yeah, and I'll be shooting Area 5 both years. Hopefully it stays kind of local for the 3rd year instead of going back down to Kentucky. But that's just because I'm limited on where I can drive or how much time I have off. So
yeah, it'll make it so much nicer for it to be close. I do enjoy the range of Kentucky and everyone there, but the 7, well, 6, it's about 6, but traffic through Cincinnati was bad, so it pushed it a little further. Yeah. It does take some time, but this year it felt good to go down. I brought the whole family, and we actually enjoyed like a whole weekend down there.
Mhm. Did you make it a working trip as well, or no?
Not really. No, it was. I mean, everywhere I go, it can be construed as a work trip since I'm in the media and photography and directing. My running joke that's not so much a joke is I ruin every vacation that we've ever gone, every single one, because it's always up at sunrise. We're going here. We're going here. We're shooting pictures here. We're doing this. What's the light look like on that building? I just ruin everything. So,
Yeah. Well, I mean, you do take some pretty spectacular photos.
oh, thanks. You know, it's funny. Like that job is actually one of the main reasons why I'm into shooting too, because I have a busy brain and
Mhm.
I'm a busy body. I can't. Any downtime makes me go crazy, right? So my job is it's not a steady one. It's
Mhm.
impossible to make it a steady one. I push as hard as I can to get clients and keep clients and work, but the industry is just set up to be in cycles. So jobs come, one or two a month if it's a really good year. Other times, you're busy for a number of weeks and then you don't have anything for a long time. So I need something to keep myself occupied and to keep my mind sharp. And
Mhm.
shooting sports is the perfect thing for that because it's so humbling. You never can be good enough, fast enough. You can never see more. It's like there's always someone better than you, no matter how much work you're putting in. And it really helps me keep my mind occupied. And that's been a blessing actually, because I don't know what I would do if I didn't have this side hobby that's turned into so much more.
You'd be in the garage lifting weights.
That too.
You'd just be sitting there, be like, more rep.
Right.
Yeah, no neck.
That's how I got in. That's actually, I mean, I've always been like into sports too. So that's actually how I got into CrossFit and weightlifting too, was the same reason, because
Mhm.
my mind will go nuts if I'm just sitting there waiting for work or trying to get work and no one's giving it, or
Mhm.
like I'm just insatiable, like to be around when I'm not busy. So it's worked out though. It's worked out. I mean, I've met a ton of great people through all the activities, and then they all kind of come together. You know, and it just makes me, I guess.
Mhm. And I bet COVID really impacted your business, didn't it?
It did. So I was on my way to New York for a shoot. Had a whole production lined up. Producer was already out there. Scout was already out there, and we were picking locations for this automotive shoot. And this COVID thing hit, and no one was sure what was going on. But we knew the company that we were working for was not allowing people to travel. So we questioned them about that, and eventually they canceled it. And after that, productions weren't really running for a while. It was significant, the shutdown for my industry. And there
Mhm.
was a lot. Once we did come back out from under the rock that we were living in, and still to a degree, some people are still really really particular, I'll use that word,
Mhm.
about the way you proceed for production, like temperature checks, masks, all this stuff. And in the beginning, I understood, and I'm supportive of what anyone wants to do to make themselves feel safe. But man, at this point in time, it's like I'm just mentally and ready, physically, we're all ready to just get back and work. So it has opened up more, and thank goodness for I don't say this much, but thank goodness for the government and them coming out and giving us those PPP loans for those of us that own businesses. That really helped me, and I'm thankful for that, because I was shut down and it wasn't my fault. Sitting here waiting for work, had
Yeah.
jobs lined up. They told me we couldn't do it. So
Did you at least get all those jobs when things opened back up then?
those ones specific didn't come back, but other ones did come up. And I would say last year, during the midst of all the COVID stuff, I was doing shoots. It was just smaller scale ones. And then in October, it opened up pretty good. I was out in Colorado working with 511 on some stuff, and that was pretty awesome. And we were, Colorado, in the area we were in, it was, they were all wearing masks and everything. And we when we were outside, so we didn't. But it's been good. This year's been a little bit more busy, and I'm grateful for it. And except for when it interferes with my dry fire, right?
Mhm.
Or my match schedule. What is work trying to do getting in the way of my fun, right?
Mhm. Well, see, what you do is you just tag the local match on to a day of work and you're fine. Yep.
Right. We'll figure it out. Right. They go
Mhm.
hand in hand.
Yep.
So
True that. Now, I forgot. You said you made master in open, right? I was there, correct?
Yeah, you were. Yeah,
I
just
know.
this past April.
Yep, you made a master finally in Open. Is there any other Open Masters who live in Michigan?
You know, I think there's a GM from days before I started shooting, and there might be another M guy out there, but I don't think there's any currently that are still shooting. Um, if there is, I'd like to know. But like, I think when you and John were talking on last week's show, I don't see a database or anything like that we can look up to tell us who in our area is classified a certain way, which would be nice.
Even if just all I had to say is you know in your state, or when you click on the map, it can say 2 GMs. You know, just in your state alone, just 2 GMs or 5
Right.
masters. Doesn't even have to give me personal information. Just give me some numbers.
Yeah, I'd like to see it. Currently, though, I think I am the only Open M in the state of Michigan,
Actively, who's competing? Yeah.
which is pretty bizarre. But we really don't have. So we're starting to have more guys shoot Open. But before this, like everyone was in production and then limited, and then when Carry Optics came out, everyone migrated there, and then a bunch of us, started going over to Open. My buddy David, who I shot locally with in limited, was the first to switch over to Open out of the younger guys. And then I picked up his gun at a match and shot one stage with it like 2019, and it was done. Right, that was it. So now we got a bunch of other guys that are coming up locally. We got Brandon, you got Joe, Levi. Right, I don't know if Levi.
Actually, surprisingly enough, I went to high school with Levi.
You did say that. That's right. Yeah.
I went to high school with him, and we're at this match at Houghton Lake. I think it was the 1st of June. I think it was the weekend of Ohio. And I think it was the Buckeye Blast. That was the first weekend of June, right?
Yeah.
Yep. So we were shooting at Houghton Lake, like 2 hours away, and it was like the match director's like, "Do you know this guy?" I'm like, "What do you assume? Because I'm from downstate that I know everybody downstate?"
Right.
Like, and heaven forbid, it was freaking Levi. I'm like, "Oh, I do know him."
That's amazing. Right.
And he's tall. I mean, like,
Oh, yeah.
I'm short. I'm 5'7". I'm short. I'll admit it.
He's got to be like 6'3" or something.
6'3" and nothing but tan.
Right. Man, yeah, lots of the young guys are coming up shooting Open, and I don't blame them. I just I tried to warn them. I was like, stick in Carry Optics for a minute because this is expensive. Like I'm 41. I've got like a career and whatnot. These guys are just launching into it, and they're gonna like newly minted fiancés and whatnot. I'm like, you guys are gonna get in trouble, man. Like,
especially he's running. He's only got one checkmate. He's got I think a 650 or a 750.
He just bought an 1100.
Oh, he did.
Oh yeah.
Okay, at least he's smart. At least he got a big machine.
I chat with all these guys. I love it, man. It's fun seeing the young guys come up and like they're gonna be crushing it soon, real soon.
Yeah, we made B class at the same match.
Oh, sweet. Okay, nice.
We I think it was. I don't know if it was off the same classifier, but because luckily there was 2 that match. We had Higher Love from 1903, and then Did You Send the Mailman?
Oh, yeah.
That one, surprisingly for Carry Optics, is very like moot. Like it's a production based time.
Yep.
And you're like, you stand up and you're like, okay.
That's a hard one because it's only 6 rounds.
6 rounds. But it was like for an 8. I was just doing the math with a buddy because he's a production shooter. So luckily for all those, we can look at production runs. Right. It was like a 6.5 second run for like an A class with all A's.
Okay.
So even if you burned it down and had a couple Charlies and Deltas like I did, you still do pretty well.
Well, hey, we shot that one at South Kent too. Yeah, I remember shooting that. I shot 2018 Nationals. That was my first Nationals I shot, and Classifier Nationals we called it, or Shooting Box Nationals. There was a ton of those stages. Yeah,
and it's not a bad classifier. It's truly, you got to get your ass out of the fucking chair.
That's the hardest part. It's so awkward, and you got to draw to that no shoot, right? It's like you mess up your grip, you just your run's over.
Pretty much, especially if you're up like you are and trying to bust into M or go into GM, like John trying to hit GM on that one. I bet he probably did it, but
he was close. Yeah.
We shot with that squad at South Kent we shot with was like Death Stalkers, if I'm going to use a Joel Park term.
Right. Well, we just had that squad this past weekend at the local at Wayne County Raccoon Hunters. So it was 4 GMs and I think 2 M's.
Yeah.
John was there. My buddy Stanley, who shoots locally too. He's
Mhm.
Carry Optics M. James Worm, who shoots locally. He's a production GM, but he's Carry Optics. He shoots Carry Optics now, so he's an M there.
Mhm.
Matt Decker, who's a local production GM. Hyder came up, so we had Open GM, and then you had me, Open M, and it was a local batch. It was like Super Squad. It was awesome.
Mhm.
Tons of fun.
I forget how small Hyder is.
He's
When he's got a beard down to here, but he's got the skinniest goddamn legs. He's
so
tiny.
fast. The reason why his legs are so skinny is because he's I don't think he has ACLs in either knee. He was a
Mhm.
pro motocross or supercross racer, and he had a lot of injuries in the past when he was younger. So that dude's gifted with like that super racer speed, or that like fighter jet pilot reflex.
Mhm.
It's something to behold in person. It's cool to see.
I can imagine. I can't wait to watch him. I'll see him at Ryan Rocks
Yeah,
on Sunday.
yeah. I'll be in the squad with the whole team, so it'll be real cool to see. I love shooting with those guys, and I used to be in awe of it, and now I'm just trying to figure out how to get there, right? And
Mhm.
it's a chore. A lot of these guys have worked a lot longer and a lot harder, but you know that's what we're here for too, right?
Mhm. Trying to get better and get the knowledge that they have and find something they don't know so we can maybe up our game, that get that edge. So Chris, what is your training schedule like? I know you work out in the garage, you dry fire, you live fire.
Yeah. I'm always training, right? So I don't really differentiate the dry and the live or the mental aspect, or the fitness aspect of it. I consider it all training, and I've learned this over the years from different instructors, right? Um, but I could break it down like this. I'm always holding on to this gun, like
Mhm.
TV's on. I'm playing with it. I'm feeling the pressures on it. I'm understanding the grip, because, like John, the guest you had last week, said, your connection to this is the most important part of the game. It's the most important part of any shooting. The grip, how you grip it, your connection to it, how it fits in your hand, because you want to be able to use your eyes to see, and then this just be right there immediately. Any delay, you lost. Any aiming, you're done. Um, it's the most important part. So my training schedule consists of, I try to dry fire almost every day. I do also take cues from some of the big shots out there. That in one of your surprise guests coming up, Mason, says if he doesn't feel like training, he won't, because he takes that as a cue that his body and his mind are trying to tell him something. And he's far smarter than the rest of us. And I listen to what he says, right?
Mhm.
He's also won a national championship. So I have this kind of balance where it's, I'm always thinking about it. So I consider that training. And when I say thinking about it, I'm breaking down, the game, thinking about how I can do things better, what I did in a match against somebody that I could have done differently. If I'm not thinking, I'm scheduling a dry fire. I've got targets set up in the basement, with a little area rug, and it's like a 360-degree range down there where I can face any wall and pick an array and do different drills. The garage studio in the yard also has some dry fire targets out there. I'll go out there if I really want to like let loose and not have anyone in here hear me running around like a crazy person. And then live fire, I'm a member at, it's crazy, like everyone, we have multiple ranges, but I'm a member at 4 ranges around here in Michigan. Each one of them offers unique circumstances, and other ones don't allow you to do certain things. So I tailor my live fire schedule, I'd say once a week minimum. If it's a big match coming up a week or 2 out, I like to go 2 or 3 days in live fire. Because in my mind, doing things consistently over time is better than doing a lot of volume at any time.
Mhm.
So I tend to do 15, 20 minutes a day of hard focused dry fire. And then if the live fire session's in order, 100 rounds nowadays is the most I'll do. It helps with the ammo. And honestly, it's made me a better shooter because I used to just go to the range and I wouldn't do a bucket of ammo, but I wouldn't cap myself on rounds. And what would happen is I would lose focus. And then if you're just doing reps, I find that the reps that you do that aren't perfect or aren't focused will pull you down. You're gonna get worse. Just straight up, you're gonna get worse if you're doing reps that aren't focused. So it's better to focus your reps and get the hell out of there. Just like any workout program would do. You know, you've got sets and reps. You want to really push it instead of, you know, kind of messing around and you know, not really putting all your effort into it. So
yeah, as soon as the conscious effort of working on it kind of, well, keeping the process in mind, essentially, of working out or training, it goes away. You're like, it's kind of like a wasted rep.
yeah. So today, for instance, I trained. Today was a rest day for fitness stuff. Although I did get some cardio in with some dry fire drills. I went to the range. So I have one of my ranges has a 24-hour indoor, which is really awesome, especially in the winter. It's kind of annoying in the summer, but I got some new mags, some new match mags in the mail from a Father's Day sale. My sponsor, American Express, stepped up big for me.
The best sponsor, right?
Oh yeah,
priceless.
So I had to test out the mag. So I went to the indoor, and this is the only time I'd ever loaded more than 100 since like the beginning of 2021 for a practice session. I just loaded all 6 mags up, went up there, and just set up 2 targets. And generally in the indoor, this is pretty much what I'll do. I'll do 2 targets, 15 yards, transitions as fast as I can from the draw. 2, 2, 2, 2. Let me see, you know, where they hit. What's the pattern looking like? And I'll look at the par time and I'll keep pushing it. And then I'll have an idea of what's going on. I'll leave and I'll go work on that in dry fire. So I was mad at my live fire today because there was someone else in the range and I'm obnoxious. I shoot these big old open guns with popple holes and like they're loud, and in the indoor like kind of freaks me out when other people are around. Not that anyone's unsafe, but I just, you know, it's kind of like to focus on my own thing. So I had a bad session and I came home and after you know, doing what I needed to do with work and hanging out with my daughter here, I went downstairs and did some dry fire right before we jumped on our podcast here. So, so days like this are great. Other days where like after a match goes or something, I'm not feeling up to it, my hands need some rest, I'll just take the day off. But I always try to find myself doing focused like, you know, 15 to 30 minutes and then calling it a day.
Yeah. And I mean, I know everyone says it, like Steger, Anderson, you know, 30 minutes a day, 6-7 days a week is not hard, but you know, you gain inches today, which would turn into miles, you know, next month or next year.
Yeah. And you know, I've trained with all those guys, or you know, been a member of the training group and all that other stuff, and it's helped me exponentially. You're absolutely right. Consistency is key. And Ben and the training group guys had taught me how to train more than anything, and it's really helped out a lot over the past 3 seasons. I would say it was a big jump once I figured out how to train.
I kind of hope that they teach you to train, since their name is Practical Shooting Training Group.
Right.
If it'd be like, give me your money and we'll fix you, might be a little bit better sometimes.
I mean, for some people that might be the way, right?
Yeah, and then you look like guys at John who have like done kind of it all on their own through maybe, you know, video exploration and shit. Like it just, I mean, he is just a doctor. I mean, so he does have a very high intelligence.
Oh yeah, that was an inspiring podcast too, and I admire John for a lot of reasons, and I love his laser focus, and you could tell from his personality, like he strives to be the best at everything, and thank goodness for his profession too, that he is, because we need folks like with that mindset doing what he does. But it's inspiring to me because yeah, he sees things out there and he's analyzing it and he's pushing himself to be the best at it, and you know, and he gets out there and he's destroying it. And you know, when he doesn't have a good match, he's hard on himself about it, but he circles back and he uses the data to get himself better. So
yeah, he's still working about that process and figuring it out, instead of being like, well, with when you have an AMG, every major, every match, I don't care, every local, have
Yeah.
AMG timers. I can care less about which tablet you use now since I've played with them all, even though give Apple your money. I mean,
Oh yeah, I know. I was
but
gonna say, yeah, like the AMG, the lab timer. We just
mhm,
use it at the local I was just at with the Super Squad guys in it, and it was amazing. And what I posted up tonight, just using those metrics in the video, you could, where you feel super fast, and then you look at someone else and you look at the numbers, you could say, how did I lose like 0.2 of a second on the draw there? Well, that's how you did it, right? And
mhm.
this thing's priceless with practice score. It's awesome.
I will say watching that first video of between you and Hyder, you do get lower than Hyder,
I do. Yeah.
but you
And
are bigger. So I mean, it kind of makes more sense since you were what 6 inches taller than he is. No,
I think it
no, you're not that. No, he's not that short. I mean, I'm that short.
probably 3 though. Probably 3.
3 inches. I forget because he's so short. He's so small. I think he's super
Yeah.
short. He doesn't post a lot of videos though either. So
No, he doesn't. And I asked him if I could post that,
mhm.
because he was in it. I didn't tag him in it or anything, but I know he sees it.
Yeah.
He doesn't get as low, but I think it's so. That's funny too. So that sequence in that video, the way he did that stage, we discussed it, and we were both going to run the same plan. But when he stepped up and shot it, he did it different. And the reason why he did it different was actually a physical limitation.
Mhm.
He's got no ACL in his right knee. So he knew if he dug that corner really hard, then he wouldn't have been able to push out the way I was intending to. He didn't know it was going to be faster to take the target across the middle on the way over and then drop step out. But he needed to do that because that was physically, that was the best way he can do it. But that goes to show you too, like everyone's style or everyone's process is a little bit different. And we might say we want to run the same exact plan, but someone else just might be better at something straight up, just
Mhm.
faster, just more athletic out of a position and in a drop step, just faster across, more confident on the move. And he's been shooting at that level for a long time. But it was interesting. So I guess what I'm getting at is I do get lower because I still got my knees at the moment. You know what I mean? And I do a lot of squat work and everything like that. So it comes more naturally to me. But he's been injured a bunch, and his style is a little bit different. He still pushes out of position real fast and gets to places really fast and splits faster than anyone.
Well, and it's funny watching the second video where you're doing the little waddle down the run.
Right?
If you watch that video, it looks really awkward because you're both mirrored over each other. Like,
When I sent him the video, I was like, this is so hard to watch. It's like, I think it's because I'm the overlay, but
yeah. Well, did you RO him as well on the first run?
yeah, so I was in there twice.
Yeah, I'm like, okay, but I mean, it worked.
Either that or I took mushrooms or something before I made the video. I mean,
but how would I see that if you were the one taking mushrooms? How would I see that? So, but yeah, he'll get his national title one day.
Yep, confident. Yeah, absolutely.
He can slay with a 2011. I'm rooting for him and Vlieger. I want Vlieger and him both to get national titles because they're both A5 area guys.
John's really fast, and this year he's been shooting a hell of a lot more points than he has in the past. And I've been on squad with him at Buckeye Blast when he won that match, and he's always fast, but now he's shooting 96% of points. So he's in a real good spot right now. That's awesome to see. I agree.
Well, I mean, he learned about his competitions shooting what is the young guy shooting, like 98% of points?
Yeah.
So, I mean, you can't go 92% of points, even though you might be a little bit faster. You got to still get your points and be fast.
Exactly.
So we went over your training schedule. What is your, how do you prepare for a major match? Did you do you change anything besides shooting a little bit more?
So in the past I would, and it was a bad idea. In the past I would change things. I would think differently. I would induce more error by thinking it was something that meant more than any match that I shoot. Now, okay, you've heard this before. Everyone's heard this before. And how do I say it where people can understand best? You treat it like it's a normal match when you get good enough to know that it's just another match for you, right? I wasn't good enough to not being nervous. I still get nervous. I'm the first shooter, the first stage all the time. I have an A last name. I'm always up. I still get nervous because it means a lot to me. But I've turned those nerves into excitement. Now those nerves are like, you know, I don't need to drink 2 monsters. I just got these nerves. I'm ready to go. So I'm walking stages harder. I'm always first shooter, like I said. So I'm warming up, right? Like before I go work out, I'm not just going to go right to lifting the heaviest weight. I'm going to warm up. So the little known secret that everyone should really know is you're getting the dry fire for as long as you want on the stages before you have to start shooting before the match starts. So, you know, we're hanging out by our first stage. I'm running through that stage a bunch of times, get myself warmed up, and then my mind's calm and just go out there and execute. So I used to induce a lot of error by making it out to be something that it wasn't. And what it isn't is it's not any different than any other day that you train. However, it is different than any other day that you train if you don't train consistently. So consistency breeds confidence. If you know how to grip this thing because you hold it all day long, or because when you're watching TV or recording a podcast or, you know, doing a Zoom call for work, hiding it under the table, you know, you're confident in your equipment. You're confident in your mindset. You're confident in your ability to draw the gun fast, reload the gun fast, see the targets fast. Then you just execute. You don't think about it. So with getting better, your mindset can change. And it has for me recently. So I used to try to ramp up training and like, you know, think of the things I wanted to do or say, I'm just going to like, you know, be more conservative going into nationals so I don't mess up. It was all wrong for me. This year, I've decided that I'm never going to change my training. I'm not going to slow down. I'm not going to like, you know, work on being consistent or anything like that. The match falls in line with the rest of the schedule that I have. I'm not looking at it as I'm working up to the next major match. I'm just looking at it as I'm constantly training and this is a part of it. And it's worked so far. So I would recommend trying it to some of you guys out there if you're struggling with majors and you know, being nervous or thinking it's different than any other time. Think of the best way you shot in the mindset that you had. And then for me, it was always when I was super relaxed, when I was just confident and having fun. So I replicate that mindset purposefully now as a part of my training.
Awesome. It makes sense. I mean, most of like, I know Anderson says, you know, if you treat every match like a major match, I mean, you'll be consistent too. And I mean, just got to get it familiarized. And I don't know. I'm weird. I don't feel that weird first stage jitters. I don't know what it is about me. I competed back in high school. I was a competitive swimmer.
Oh, okay.
So I'm used to that.
Yeah, you get one shot, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
You got to make it or break it. But you just, especially you get on the start block and you get in that position, you're getting in the start position, you're running through your mental process, you know, just do what you got to do, push it and do it, you know, perform to your ability. Don't worry about what's next, left or right of you, who's in front of you, behind you.
Right.
Just do you.
Exactly. I've had some great conversations with some top level guys out there and some Instagram followers that, you know, when I post stuff on my story or when I post stuff on there, I'm genuinely trying to solicit a real conversation. Unlike some of these weirdos out there that are trolling. I don't understand it. I never will. I'm really trying to get a genuine conversation going. And I've had a few people reach out. We talked about exactly what you just said. It's just, you know, go out there and do you. Focus, do what you've trained to do. Don't worry about the people next to you. Don't worry about your squad. Don't worry about the weather. Don't worry about any of it. You're under control of your own mindset. Go out there and execute. And it's been good. It's been really good. So I'm really thankful for everyone in the sport that's reached out. And I would encourage all you guys out there to reach out to the good shooters around you, even to shooters that you see nationally that are you know, idols of yours. Reach out to them, man. Like they're just guys like us. They're just girls like us. You know, they're just regular folks. So we're all doing this together, and it's volunteer level sport, like we had already covered. So reach out, and you'll be surprised. You'll get a lot of good responses and a lot of good training tips.
Yep. And the worst thing they can say is no.
Right. And
That,
I've really never had that happen. Right.
Mhm.
Anyone in the sport, like everyone's been really great. And then obviously there's guys that teach for profession, be it JJ, Ben, Tim, Mason. List goes on and on. Right.
Mhm. I always I run this every time I want to ask some bigger person on. I always ask JBL, "What do you think they'd say yes?" He's like, "I think they would, but the worst they can say is no." I'm
Right.
like, I mean, fair enough.
True.
So, I mean, I'm gonna have Mason on. I waited till he followed me on Instagram. That was kind of interesting.
Yeah.
Followed me, and then the next day, I'm like, "Hey, you want to come on the show?"
Yeah.
Which is awesome. He was just on, whose podcast was he on? I can't remember now, but it was a good show. I listened to it, and Mason's always a good,
Yeah.
very educated person.
We're going to get him in. I've been wanting to get him here to Michigan to shoot. And I would have done it this year, but the whole ammo crisis and everything like that. And all of us were looking for primers and everything. But we got to get him here and host him at one of the clubs. Brooklyn might be the place because it's the biggest.
And it's going to get bigger.
Yeah, exactly. We'll figure that out. But yeah, I'd love to train with him. He's his thinking, the way he processes, I admire it. And I think I'd really serve myself well to be trained by him.
Because you want him there. I've got 2 guys up north who want him. So, and they're pretty cool with coming down. So,
Okay.
and like I said, if ammo comes back, and I mean,
It will.
I think what was it? I saw Ammo Seek was like 115 grain today, was 36 cents a round.
Okay.
And that was brass cased.
Man.
It's still pricey. Some people have been buying it, and I'm like, if you got the money, go right ahead.
Yeah. I'm here to tell you guys, like, I know Jay Clay too, like we chat too, and he's been, running the regimen for years where he's not doing a lot of live fire. He's a super squad guy. You don't have to live fire that much. You have to live fire, but you don't have to. Just mix your training, and like the fundamentals matter. And for years, it took me years to figure out the fundamentals properly, and I ignored them. I'm being honest. Like the sexy stuff when I was wanting to learn how to move, which I did that probably out of order. It's helped me now, but I ignored the fundamentals for a long time, and those are what's helped push me further. Now it's just like focusing on all the basics. So you do that in dry fire, and then you go to live fire. You can take 50 rounds. You can load these 2 guys up, and you can get everything that you need out of a live fire session. Just enough rounds to fit those 2 mags. Then you go back and work on it in dry fire. As long as you know what you're looking for, and that's what all these classes and all these conversations will help.
Yeah, absolutely. And what is it? I think it was a podcast or something. I didn't talk to Jay about this, but it was, he did 3 bill drills. And I think that he did a bill drill like at match pace, and then he pushed one, and then he did another bill drill at like match pace again. And then he was done for the day.
Yeah.
But I honestly wish if I could go shoot out my back door. I mean, I'd be shooting into my neighbor's house, but
I know I got 100 yards of grass, but like the neighbors are like 50 foot away on either side. It's, probably not a good idea.
I need to get myself, if ammo comes back, I'll get myself a Brooklyn membership like immediately, because they've got the best range to go practice at around. But I mean, surprisingly, down here in the south of the state, we've got Brooklyn, Livingston, DSC, Oakland. There's like 5, and then there's the other side of the state, like Niles of Bend of the River, South Kent. That's a little north of here. Where's the other one? Oak Hill,
yeah.
And that's pretty like, if you want a match, there's a match every weekend, I think, in Michigan.
Oh yeah, multiple ones.
You can do a Saturday, Sunday thing,
right?
Yeah, I mean, but there's a lot in the conglomerate of Detroit though, which is nice.
Oh yeah,
because there's guys like who shoot over there by you that I've never heard of.
Oh yeah,
because they just stay over there.
Yep. Yeah, there's a ton of us over here, and we don't get to the west side much. But like I went to South Kent for the classifier match because I was determined to push myself over the edge, and that was an awesome match. I'm happy I came out.
Even though they weren't great classifiers.
No, all the stand-in shoots, but you know, we were mad, but then we came through, right?
Mhm.
I made GM and I made M, and it was like, this is it.
Right? Because you shot what, Livingston the week before?
Yep.
Yeah.
Livingston the week before, and I was like just sitting on some. I had one of the classifiers that we got to shoot that week at South Kent. It's like 1303 or something. I can't remember the name.
The Roscoe Rattle.
Yeah, the Roscoe Rattle. Yep, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
I smoked the first run at Livingston the week before, and then went to prepare for my next string. And it's an uprange, you know, turn and draw, and got the gun holstered. Okay, I always have a habit, and I lock the holster, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we can get into why. You know, we can talk further about it. I'll tell you guys so many funny stories, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I'll lock my holster all the time when I move, and dry fire every time. And I heard Jeff, the RO, say, "Are you ready?" And my first thought when I'm like, you know, just like this, ready to turn and draw, was my holster's probably locked. And I thought to myself, just tell him you're not ready and check. I didn't. I was like, YOLO, let's do it. My turn to draw, holster's locked, right? So I had like messed up that second run. So luckily we got to shoot it again at South Kent, and I didn't have that problem. And I sent like a pretty fiery run at it and bumped me up. So I was pretty happy about that.
Mm-hmm. And the worst part about class firemen, like, it's a good thing and a bad thing. Problem is that they murder off the rest of your scores, though, essentially.
Yeah, I know. See, I've actually gone down over the years. In limited, it took me forever to get out of B class because I kept doing that. In like limited nationals in 2018, it was 9 classifiers. I think I went down like 4% after that, because the first time you've seen these stages at nationals, you're not trying to push it. And I think I shot like 70% or something that year at nationals, my first year at nationals, which I think I was like 80th, or I don't know what I was, but it was good for me for my first nationals in limited. But I dropped in classification, and it took me a whole season to dig myself out of that.
Where was 2018 nationals?
Frostproof.
Okay, frostproof. Yeah, because 19 was in St. George.
St. George. Yeah.
I'm kind of hope they'll host a nationals again, but I don't know.
the
Their
rumor
barrels aren't the bays narrow now?
Yeah, the bays are narrow. So the new hotness is the Cameo shooting sports marksmanship complex or whatever, where they just had the Bighorn match in Colorado. It's in Grand Junction.
Okay.
That looks a lot like the way SUPs used to look, Southern Utah Practical Shooters. Beautiful mountain landscapes and just huge bays. This place is supposed to be the best. I just got off the phone with Mel from Team Infinity, and like he was like, "Bro, this is the best range and the best stages I've ever shot in any USPSA match." And I was stoked. It looks amazing. And the rumor is they want to bring Nats out there, which would be amazing because those bays are gigantic and they use every bit of them. It's very scenic. Apparently there's a regional airport there, which if you get tickets in advance, you can fly into Salt Lake and then lay over. And it'd be good. It's a 4-hour drive out of Denver otherwise, which isn't the best idea, but I would think it's going to go there before it ever goes back to Southern Utah. But
shuttle buses, everyone get on the shuttle bus.
I'd like to. Well, hey, we'd like to have it here, and I think they're vying for it in Brooklyn. It's close to Ann Arbor. It's close to the airport. Michigan is very temperate in both. If you do it in May for low cap and then September for high cap, or even everything in September, it would be amazing.
It would. Now, if South Kent was ran by better people, we could have it there with their 36 bays of land.
Yep. Yeah, I heard. I guess they had Area 5, and I think they might have even had nationals back in the day there. But I don't know. But it is a huge club for sure. Close to Grand Rapids too.
Yeah, it's close to an airport. And if the worst thing is to worse, you fly into Chicago and you drive.
Yeah, like 2 hours, right?
Yeah, we need more major matches.
Yeah, well, I'm going to try to get Oakland County. We're supposed to be expanding there too, and I'm going to be pushing it there, designing stages, and I'd like to run that match here long. And we want to do we'll push for sectional eventually, but if we can't get that, we'll do our own major, or even we'll start it as a level 1, but have it be like a Oakland County championship.
Mhm.
Really run it well. I want to try to get volunteers to come and pace and reset. I want to have, this weekend we have a match there. I have to go set up on Saturday or on Friday for our Saturday match. There's going to be a bar cart and grilling and burgers after the match right on the range. So America, come join us. There's a racetrack there. It's pretty awesome.
Yeah, well, you have bow shoots there too.
Yeah.
That's actually found out about Oakland County. Was actually my family does the MLA, the Michigan Longbow Association.
Okay.
So they shoot bows, and it's like, yeah, this place got a ratrack. I'm like, oh, I know what you're talking about.
Oh yeah. Oh, it's
It's
I remember
America.
watching Sports Car Club of America races there when I was getting into cars a while back when I was just out of college. That place has been around forever. It's nice. I think it's a crown jewel of the area, and hopefully one day you can get it to be, how do I say it? Just like more noticeable. It's known by the club members, but man, I really want to get so many more people to come into there. The bar and the restaurant are open to the public. Let's make it like one of the best restaurants in town. Let's make the bar sweet. And then shooting sports. You got sporting clays, USPSA, IDPA, rifle range, bow, longbow, camping. It's all there. Steel challenge. Hopefully, we're gonna try to set that up there too. So
You've got the base space. You just have to get all the steel, don't you?
So we don't even have the bay space yet. There's 5 bays for action pistol, and only one of them is big.
Oh
The
yeah.
other one's long and narrow, but we're planning an expansion this fall. It's kind of with the town of Waterford's planning and zoning right now. I think they actually have a meeting tonight, but I don't go to the meetings. Eric, he's a vet of like running clubs, and a local guy named Bill. Those guys have been doing it for a lot longer, so they know the board, and they're kind of age of those guys. And they're working their way in and speaking the language and kind of butter in the bread, I guess, so that like one day guys like me can take over and run it, and attract a bunch of younger shooters and make it a nationally known match, like so many people around do. I mean, you got Iowa sectional. You see the Cornhusker Classic that just happened last weekend with Ben, Steger Pro Shop running it. And, Hopkins runs the Free State match out in Kansas City. Leif does the Kentucky sectional in Area 5 this year. So you've got all these nationally known matches in places that are kind of obscure. Oakland County, Michigan isn't really that obscure. It's one of the richest counties in the country. It's beautiful up here. It's easy to get to, so we want to make an awesome match for everybody and get people up here.
And everyone will get their meatballs, right? At the awards banquet, they get their meatballs and their cake.
Oh, let's do it. Yeah. And
we're not gonna run out of food.
You won't pace and reset. We're gonna figure that out, right? Because like water on bays is kind of passe now. Now it's like no pacing and resetting. Let's get in, let's shoot, let's get out, and let's drink beer and have fun.
Well, I guess from talking with a couple people, they had like a local youth shooting club come and paste it and reset it for tips.
Yeah.
I mean, if we get the local Boy Scouts or the Girl Scouts, let them sell their cookies and popcorn too on the stand. Shit, they'd make all the money from us. People like
our range house that holds all of our activators and props is also a Boy Scout club, like clubhouse. So that's exactly what we're thinking. Have it be a service, and it's not like it's that difficult. I mean, the ROs don't even need to pace and reset. We could just have, you know how it is. Everyone does it for theater on squads at majors. It's like running up to pace and reset, and there's too many of us downrange to do it. You don't need everyone in the squad going downrange to pace and reset. Don't act like you're working when you're not. No one's going to be mad at you if you're like, on deck in the hole. Just we can make it so much more organized. I've got ideas, but it's just we're gonna have to train people. Let's put it that way.
Right. And honestly, if it's you do your part, I think I heard it from a practical shooting after dark. I think Ben made comment of how the Wisconsin match is going to run.
Okay.
Where it's like
that's too, right?
Say again.
I think that's he's a match director of that.
Yep. He came up with some system. It's like you get to the bottom of the list or something, and you then take over pasting these certain targets,
Yeah.
and then you're doing these, you're doing the spray paint. So it's kind of like a system of when you have to reset, and it's like four people per stage.
Yeah, exactly.
And everyone just send Ben Steger Pro Shop your money. We'll get a paster gun, get some Magnum rolls.
Yes.
I mean, I burned through like 3/4 of a Magnum roll at the Tim Herron class, unfortunately, so I have to buy another one. But I have a bunch of Shooters Connection rolls, so I'll probably use those up first.
Do it.
That thing was the best investment ever. Everyone's like, "Why do you have this thing?" Because I'm efficient.
Oh yeah.
I don't like tape on my pants. It's one of those things that's like, I don't want to roll it. And I always drop, like if someone gave me a long strip of pasters, it'd always fly out of my back pocket if I was running around.
Oh yeah. No, the paster gun is like, everyone needs one for sure. If you're serious about training and you don't have a paster gun, are you even training?
I don't even think you need to be serious about training. I think if you go to matches, you need a paster gun. I mean,
true.
like I said, if you, after your second year of USPSA, you need a 20% off coupon for a paster gun.
That'd be great. Paster gun, how come no one thought of this? Paster gun would be great on the prize table.
Yeah. Maybe I have to look. I'll look at the picture that Joel posted about the Cornhusker Classic, because whatever the Ben Steger Pro Shop offered, maybe there was one on the table.
Okay.
Or hey, Double Alpha, if you're listening in, but you're probably not. Paster guns on prize tables, please.
Yes, exactly.
Or CED, whoever. I think they're the same thing, but same difference.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah. No. Oh, I love this question. This is one of my favorites. What is something that current Chris would like to tell past Chris about shooting?
Right. I mean, current Chris would tell past Chris that no one cares but you.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So it can mean everything in the world to you, which it does.
Mm-hmm.
Don't be worried about how you're performing or how other people perceive you when you're shooting. Just be safe, have fun, show up, master the fundamentals first, and reach out to people and get as much help as you can. Don't try to do it all on your own. And once I did that, the rest of it kind of happens, right? You find your flow. That would be it, really. I mean, otherwise, I've enjoyed the process of going through this and working it out. I'm in my own head a lot, and like I've talked about earlier, I keep my mind busy. So it's been good though. It helps teach me life lessons too. All your deficiencies that you have and how you train and what you do with this teach you a lot about what's going on with you as a family member, as a friend. How efficient you are or inefficient you are at your job. So I might be the only artistic weirdo out here that thinks that way about shooting, but for me, everything kind of melts together. It's just the way I look at things. So
yeah, and I mean, I've used my mental strategies to help me recently. I mean, mentally managing yourself is so helpful. It doesn't let you worry about things that you can't worry about right now. Like if you have no power to control it, you can't be worrying about it, because if you are, it doesn't help you be productive.
Not at all. And in that moment where you're trying to execute, you need a clear mind and just need to focus on what's right in front of you. Just like you just said, I absolutely agree.
Yeah. And recently it's been a tough struggle. Even I've been having to like tell the wife, full stop. We got to mentally manage ourselves here. We got to think about what we can control. Because sometimes she'll get upset and it's like, well, can we control it? No. So we're not worrying about it.
Exactly. Yep.
Now, Chris, who are some of your biggest mentors and supporters?
So, wow. I mean, currently the list has kind of grown, right? Locally, from the beginning, I've had so many people that have helped. From the folks over at DSC, Bill, Michael, James, Matt, like names I'm forgetting. Livingston Gun Club, everyone over there. Wayne County Raccoon Hunters, Roy down there, and Jeff down there. When I started the sport, I was just like I said, just the fucking new guy that showed up, thought I was hot shit, right? Come in like C class, winning C class at Florida State, or third C at Area 6, 2017, like thinking you're the man. these guys, always treated me really well. So started with my local mentors, and then as I've grown, I've reached out to a lot of people and gotten to know a lot of guys in sport. I talk to Andrew Hyder every day. We're good friends, and he's really pushed me and helped me a lot. JJ, I've taken 2 classes with JJ, and anytime I see JJ, he's always open to talk. He's pushed me a lot. I don't talk with him like personally though, although I could. I just, he's busy and he's, not as close of a friend because he's not nearby to train with. Practical Shooting Training Group, the guys on there, Ben has helped me a ton. I've chatted with Mason a lot over Instagram over the years. He was one of the first guys to follow me. He's a smart guy and he knows his audience and he's genuinely interested in helping people. Jason Bradley, chat with him a lot. He's finished second in carry optics last year at nationals, won area 3, I think, and a couple of other level 2s. Jason's been a key in helping me discuss a lot of things, just like Andrew. Really helped. I'll go to him for my video reviews now. I'm still a member of Training Group. I think it's an amazing resource. I'm not ever going to go away from that. But once you get to a certain point, you need someone's eye on you that's going to tell you more than kind of the basics, right? And Jason's been that guy for me. If I could just send him videos or just hit him up on chat, he's keeps it straight, tells me what's going on. It's really encouraging. I jumped on IG Live with him the other night I had a question about shooting on the move as opposed to posting up and shooting what's in front of you. And he's just real complimentary and he's also very, very good at shooting. So he's been another mentor of mine. And then, the other guys on Team Infinity, Mel, Anthony Bruno, those guys have, been personally reached out to me when I met them, and I got their numbers and I can call them anytime, ask about my equipment, ask about anything that I need, and they're there for me. It's been pretty awesome.
That's pretty awesome. I'm kind of sad I didn't see that notification you went live with Boomer.
With Jason Bradley?
Yeah. Stupid Instagram. Not being
he had said he was going to go live on his story, and I made a joke about something about what I was going to ask, and he was like, just join. It's going to be at 8:30. And then our power went out and it was all kind of weird around here. And I still joined, but my phone died, but it's there. I think it's from a few nights ago. So you'll see it on his page. It was really cool. He had Hopkins and he had Joel on, and then he kicked those guys out, had me on, and then I left and Alexis Pena jumped on. And I don't know who else jumped on after that, but he had an hour and a half chat with a bunch of guys.
That's pretty cool. Yeah, I like whenever I can listen to Jason, even if it's on the free version of the PSTG podcast. It's nice to hear his different thoughts and his ideas. Because I think there was a show a while back they were talking about confirmation drill.
Yeah.
And he was almost like confirmation 0.5 he was talking about. And it was quite an interesting topic,
Yeah. Yeah, circle back to the influence and the people that are really helping. I know there's people I've missed, but it's basically anyone. You, John Shinchen, Stanley, local guys, my buddy David, Brandon, Joe, everyone. I'm influenced by everyone, and I want to make time to help other people too. I think it's important, and I'm humbled by everyone that you shoot against. You have a good day, you have a bad day, and you gotta help other people too. Build people up, right? So, I would encourage people. I keep saying it. Reach out, get out there, get in the game, and talk to folks. We're all in this boat together. We're similar. Like I said, pro shooters. I know I could call JJ and he would talk. He's just a regular guy, a family man, just like a lot of us. He's a pro shooter, but what's a pro shooter?
Just a dude who gets paid to shoot bullets.
Exactly. Right. Just like any other thing. So don't be shy. Reach out.
His wife must be a saint.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know how she deals with it.
I think she's quite dangerous. I think she's like DHS. Like
Mm-hmm.
she's yeah, they I think that's where they met. I'm not sure, but they're dangerous folks, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she just puts up with his shit. I'm like, but I loved watching his stories with him drinking the espresso and speaking Italian all the time. Those are my favorite ones.
Right, right. He's funny. He's a riot to train with.
Mm-hmm. He's definitely on my list.
Yeah,
Definitely.
I'd say do it when you can. And I like the way that you're going about things, though. Take it certain levels as you go, soak it all in. I would hit JJ up like once you feel super, when you're confident you're going to bust out a B and you're on to that next step. Because what happens is like you get high B class, which is basically like M that just isn't consistent.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And then A is basically like more of the same that you skip through, and then you become M, and then the real work begins. Now we have to really, now I have to really train.
Right. Yeah.
Target on my back now.
Absolutely. Now we're getting near the end of the show today, which is, it's always been a good time. I love talking with you. You're one of the cool dudes.
Oh, thanks.
But
what have we answered?
What?
Is there any other questions that we need to get to?
There's a couple. We've got, this is my favorite question. I steal this from another podcast. Sue me now, guys. I love how he asked this question. It's from Scott Jedlinski's podcast. What are things that people can stop doing or start doing to get better?
Stop thinking that you can't. Full stop. Don't use those words. Don't think that you can't do anything. Everyone else is just a human like you that's trained, that started from nothing as well. You can get to where anyone else is that you're looking at. All of us out there that are doing it, are trying our best, are proof. Now, what was the second part of the question?
What can you start doing to get better?
What can you start doing to get better? Consistency.
Be more consistent.
Be consistent. Do what you want to do more than not doing it. So just as simple as that. Doesn't have to be forced, but even if you're just thinking about it, visualization when you can't shoot or when you can't train, that's still training, right? If you're walking through a stage in your mind, just get consistent. Put your mind on it. Put your body to it. Surround yourself with people that motivate you.
Which is surprising when you talk about consistency. I took that Tim Herron class, and I had a friend who just seemed to, we get 3 runs at the stage. You get day 1 morning, day 2 morning, day 2 end. He's connected. I'd say, got lucky on the first run at the beginning of class, lit his hair on fire. It was a great run. But then the next 2 times we ran that stage, nothing like that. It was not even, wasn't even malfunctions or anything. It just wasn't consistent. It was just, which I'm fairly lucky that I can be consistent, which is good for, at least in some things. I'm consistent on some things.
Yeah, and your level of what you can achieve and your consistency will raise as you get reps. One of my buddies, Josh, who doesn't shoot much anymore, but I met him through USPSA. Chat with him a lot on IG about weightlifting and everything else too. Helped him with his weightlifting, which he's been doing awesome with that. He always used to tell me, dude, you just don't rush. You need reps. Take your time. You'll get there. The seasons are going to come and go. I think it's my 5th season. It took me 4+ seasons to make M. It is what it is. Don't be in a rush. You're going to get there. All of us have the power to get to GM if you just execute consistently.
Yep. It's all about it. It's consistency and bringing up your level of skill.
Yeah.
Now, we joked about this earlier, but you don't have any sponsors, do we, Chris?
I do not. No. Nothing.
Except that little plastic in your pocket.
Amex, American Express, and shout out to my wife. Alicia's been either inadvertently or like maybe I'm slimy and I just like, hey, can I borrow some cash for the local? I want to stop at the ATM. So she's been paying for my local matches for God knows how long now.
It's like, it's the local jar, right? It's like, I just take the money out of the cup.
Yeah. No, I don't have any sponsors. I don't have jersey or anything like that. Brian from Hunters HD has been a supporter I did get a pair of ruby frame glasses when I was at the Infinity Experience for winning the shoot off. And I love them. So I put those in a pair of Smith Director Elites, and immediately was mad that I didn't get them in the aim cam. I love using the aim cam for fun, for training. It's just a great tool. And I saw Brian at the Kentucky sectional, and I said, I need to get these aim cams with these ruby lenses. And he's like, just give them to me. And wrote them up. He's like, sponsored, team shooter. Okay. And I mean, sent them back to me within that week. So I didn't ask Brian for that. But we all know Brian is one of the best guys in the game. I'm very thankful, and I'm going to see him at Ryan Rocks, and anything he wants to, he's going to be there. Yeah.
Hell yeah. I got to go get that man a hug and get me a cone of gold.
Right. That's right. So, I mean, I don't know that makes me sponsored by Hunters HD, but I will definitely solicit for them because I believe in that product. And you guys know me out there. If you don't, you're getting to know me now. But Manny knows I'm not going to solicit things I don't believe in.
Real talk ambassador right there.
Yeah, real talk ambassador. Right. I'll just tell you what's real. And those glasses. See, I was bummed. I would have done the gold, but I don't like the gold. I think it's too bright. So for all these years, I didn't have a pair of gold. And I felt bad not being able to support Brian. But when I got the rubies, when I tried the rubies on, I was blown away. They just work with the dot. They punch the perfs out on the brown. They make the brown pasters that aren't shooters connection pasters turn olive drab green. Ooh. Which helps me see specific points on the target, which is a big deal. I can tell you it's an advantage. I'm just that's an advantage. It's like getting that supervision. So once the ruby glasses came out, I was all in. So go get yourself some or try them out. Brian will let you wear them at major matches and then take your money right afterwards because you're going to love them.
Yeah, just have that check already written or have that card out. Because I remember when I ordered my rubies, I literally sent an email at 6 a.m, 6:05, reply from Brian. And his office manager, his name escapes me right now, but he's phenomenal too. Oh, yep. And I was mad because they were when I was finishing my prescription up, they had just released the Magnum frames.
Oh, those are sweet.
They are sweet. And I'm like, dang it.
Right.
I'm tempted, honestly, to get my eyes checked and then just have clear hunter's lenses for my regular prescription.
That'd be cool. And that's where his regular business is. So, yeah, he's one of the good dudes, and his new Sprinter van thing is just amazing. If you haven't seen it, you'll see it at Ryan Rocks. It's cool.
I told you, I'm gonna sit down, give Brian a hug, and get me a free whatever that drink is I want. I like all the jokes of everybody saying at Low Cap Nationals, we could have fit more people under Brian's van than they did for the awards.
Oh, I'm telling you, for the rain, right?
But yeah, I can't wait to meet Brian because that'll be cool.
Yeah, he's awesome. Shout out to Brian.
Brian, we love you. Now, Chris, where can they find you? I know you said you don't do Facebook, but where can they find you?
So on Instagram, my shooting account for these guns is ManBun Labe, and ManBunLabe. It's hidden under here, right? So it's a play on words. If you guys don't get it, Molan Labe, come and take it. ManBun. If you want to find me for photography stuff, I'm at The Reason on Instagram as well.
Yeah, he takes cool pictures, guys. Look him up. I'm kind of hoping. Go ahead.
We'll see how it all transpires and how I can help the organization or whatever in the future with marketing and communication stuff as well. So, I mean, I'm up for it. Figure it out.
That'd be really cool. We need better pictures.
Well, video. I mean, they do great with that stuff, but I just feel like in my mind, and we've talked about this on another show, but in my mind, there's no reason that USPSA can't be as big as CrossFit. Like CrossFit's a multi-million-dollar business. Watching people exercise, it's on ESPN. Give me a break. Shooting sports are way more interesting than that, right? Let's go. Let's
I
roll.
mean, I do like to watch people do deadlifts. I mean, that is kind of cool.
Yesterday was deadlift day. I'm sorry I didn't video it then for you guys.
Yeah. I don't know. Your squats impressed me too, though.
Yeah, that you know what? Consistency. It's been consistency and form, and it's the same thing as this. It's been fundamentals. I couldn't do that shit to save my life when I started like in 2012, and then every week since then, lifting weights, squatting, getting your mobility, figuring out how your muscles work, how your body works. It's huge. It all fits together. You see other guys like Shane Coley out there who's crushing it lifting as well, and he's got a great physical fitness background, and he moves really, really well. Lift a hell of a lot of weight too.
Yeah, he does. He's got that beard going.
Right.
I remember first ever finding out about Shane Coley on Hot Shots.
Yeah.
When he was in the AMU still and had no facial hair.
He was probably shooting open then too.
That was a 2014 World Shoot. You know, at the end of Hot Shots, him and Max.
Wow. Both on the AMU still?
No, Max was shooting for SIG at that point. He was still shooting an open. And at that time, I think KC was still shooting for Glock.
Yeah. Yeah.
I've watched that series like 5 times now.
Now you got me inspired to go fire up YouTube and look at that stuff. In a minute.
Yeah, it is. It's nostalgic right there.
Right. Awesome.
Well, Chris, I appreciate you coming on today. It's been a blast. It's always a blast talking to you. But I would like to thank the listeners. Thank you guys for tuning in for another episode of Manny Talks Shooting. If you enjoyed the content, check it out. Manny Things on YouTube. We got that. Until next time, get out and do the things.
Thank you guys. I appreciate it. Thank you, Manny.
Thank you.